Ladies and gentlemen, we all navigate through life trying to carve out our own happiness, success, and peace of mind. Yet, sometimes in our pursuit of these things, we encounter challenges that threaten to derail everything we've worked for. Today, I want to share with you 6 things, 6 silent forces that can destroy your life if you're not careful. These are not just external obstacles, but internal battles we all face. Understanding them is the first step toward protecting ourselves from their destructive power. 1. Fear of failure. Fear of failure is one of the most common yet most destructive emotions we face in life. It's invisible, quiet, and cunning, often hiding behind excuses, procrastination, and overthinking. We rarely admit we are afraid to fail. But deep inside, it's the voice that whispers, "What if I'm not good enough?" Or, "What if I try and it all goes wrong?" This fear doesn't just stop us from taking risks. It robs us of opportunity, growth, and the chance to live a life true to ourselves. Fear is a natural human emotion. It exists to protect us from danger. But when fear starts protecting us from life itself, from challenges, from growth, from uncertainty, it stops being a safeguard and starts becoming a prison. The fear of failure makes us stay in our comfort zones, afraid to venture out because we might stumble. But nothing grows in the comfort zone, only regret and unrealized dreams. Many of us are haunted not by the mistakes we made, but by the chances we didn't take, the business we never started, the course we never enrolled in, the love we never pursued, the dream we kept pushing away, saying, "Maybe next year." And deep down, the reason wasn't lack of resources, time, or talent. It was fear. Fear told us that failure would be humiliating, that it would mean we weren't enough. But failure isn't the opposite of success. It is part of it. Some of the most successful people in history failed countless times. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. J.K. Rowling was rejected by numerous publishers before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. What if they had stopped trying after the first few failures? What if they had believed that failure defined them? The truth is, they didn't succeed despite their failures. They succeeded because of them. Failure teaches us what nothing else can. It humbles us, refines us, strengthens our resilience, and sharpens our focus. It gives us experience. Each failure is a teacher, and every setback is a setup for a comeback, if we are willing to learn from it. But if we let fear of failure stop us from even trying, we deny ourselves thus the lessons and the eventual breakthroughs that come only through persistence. It's important to understand where the fear comes from. Sometimes it's rooted in childhood experiences, where we were punished for making mistakes. Other times, it's society that puts pressure on us to succeed perfectly and immediately. We begin to believe that failure is shameful rather than an inevitable part of growth. But the most tragic part is when we internalize that fear so deeply, we start to believe we are the failure, not just that we experienced one. To overcome the fear of failure, we must change the way we see it. We must redefine failure not as falling short, but as trying. Every attempt, even if it doesn't lead to the outcome we wanted, is a mark of courage. It means we dared. We showed up, and that alone sets us apart from those too afraid to even begin. When you shift your mindset this way, fear loses its grip and you begin to move forward with bravery, even if you're uncertain of the outcome. Let me leave you with this. You are not your failures. You are not the mistakes you've made. You are the courage that it takes to rise again, to try again, to believe again. Do not let the fear of failure be the reason your dreams remain dreams. The world needs what you have to offer, even if the journey there includes a few stumbles along the way. Choose progress over perfection. Choose action over fear, because in the end, it's better to live with a few scars than a heart full of what ifs. 2. Negative self-talk. There's a voice inside all of us that no one else hears. The voice of our inner dialogue. It speaks when we look in the mirror, when we fail a test, when we mess up in public, or when we lie awake at night questioning our worth. This inner voice can either build us up or break us down. And for many of us, it does the latter. Negative self-talk is one of the most silent, yet most damaging forces that can destroy our confidence, happiness, and success. This voice often begins subtly, almost innocently. You miss a deadline and it says, "I'm so stupid." You see someone more successful and it whispers, "I'll never be like them." You get rejected and it declares, "I'm not good enough." Over time, these phrases become familiar, and without realizing it, they become beliefs. What starts as a thought becomes your truth, and that's when it begins to destroy you from the inside out. The most tragic part about negative self-talk is that we believe it without question. If a stranger said those things to you, you'd walk away. If a friend said it, you'd be hurt or angry. But when you say it to yourself, you accept it as fact. Why do we treat ourselves with less compassion than we would treat someone we love? Why do we become our own bullies? Negative self-talk is not just about low self-esteem. It affects every area of our lives. It influences our decisions, our relationships, our careers, and our mental health. It keeps us from applying for the job, starting the business, speaking up in a meeting, or even trying something new. It creates fear where there could be courage, and doubt where there should be belief. It turns potential into paralysis. This kind of inner dialogue is often shaped by past experiences, critical parents, toxic relationships, or failures that left emotional scars. Over time, these experiences plant seeds of insecurity in our minds. But just because something was said to you doesn't mean it has to become your identity. You are not your worst moment. You are not the insults others threw at you. And you are certainly not the lies your inner critic keeps repeating. So how do we fight negative self-talk? It starts with awareness. Pay attention to how you speak to yourself. Would you say those same things to a loved one? If not, why are you saying them to yourself? Then comes replacement. Challenge every cruel thought with a kind one. Replace "I'm a failure" with "I'm learning." Replace "I can't do this" with "I'll try and grow." It sounds simple, but these small shifts can create powerful transformations over time. Also, surround yourself with voices that uplift you. Friends, mentors, even books and music that reinforce positivity. What we consume becomes part of our thoughts. Choose influences that inspire confidence, self-love, and courage. And most importantly, practice forgiveness. Forgive yourself for your mistakes, for not knowing better, for being human. Perfection is not the goal. Progress is. In the end, remember this: you are always listening to yourself. Make sure the words you speak within are ones of encouragement, not destruction. Be your biggest supporter, not your harshest critic. Life is already filled with enough challenges. Don't let your mind become the battlefield where you lose to yourself. You are worthy, you are capable, and you are enough, just as you are. 3. Toxic relationships, the people we surround ourselves with, profoundly shape our lives, our thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and ultimately our destiny. Relationships have the power to lift us to incredible heights or drag us down into despair. Unfortunately, many of us have experienced toxic relationships, those that sap our energy, shake our confidence, and erode our sense of self-worth. Toxic relationships can destroy your life slowly, often so subtly that you don't realize the damage until it's too late. Toxic relationships come in many forms. Friendships, family ties, romantic partnerships, even professional connections. What makes a relationship toxic is not necessarily the person, but the patterns of behavior that cause harm, constant criticism, manipulation, disrespect, control, or emotional neglect. These interactions create a cycle where you feel drained, anxious, or even fearful around the very people who should be your support system. One of the most heartbreaking aspects of toxic relationships is the emotional confusion they bring. Love and pain become intertwined, making it hard to recognize what's truly healthy. You may find yourself excusing bad behavior because of history, loyalty, or fear of being alone. But holding on to a relationship that diminishes you is like carrying a heavy weight every day. It crushes your spirit and clouds your judgment. In toxic relationships, your identity and self-esteem often get lost. Over time, the constant negativity chips away at your confidence until you start doubting your worth. You begin to believe the harsh words, the blame, the accusations, sometimes even taking responsibility for things that aren't your fault. This internal damage is invisible, but incredibly destructive. It's like a slow poison that seeps into every corner of your life. Recognizing toxicity is the first step toward reclaiming your life. It requires courage to admit that someone you care about is hurting you or that you're in a harmful dynamic. But remember, self-respect is not selfishness. Protecting your mental and emotional health is a priority, not a luxury. When you start to see the patterns clearly, you gain the power to make choices that prioritize your well-being. Letting go of toxic relationships isn't easy. It may mean facing loneliness, disappointment, or backlash. You may feel guilt or question your own judgment. But the space you create by removing toxicity makes room for healing, growth, and new connections that honor and uplift you. True relationships are built on mutual respect, trust, and kindness. Anything less is a burden, not a blessing. It's also important to remember that toxic relationships don't always have to be cut off entirely, especially with family or colleagues. Sometimes setting clear boundaries, what you will and will not tolerate, is the healthiest way to protect yourself. Boundaries teach others how to treat you and safeguard your peace. Saying no or walking away when your limits are crossed is an act of strength, not weakness. Ultimately, your life can only flourish when you surround yourself with those who see your value, celebrate your successes, and stand by you in challenges. Toxic relationships will drain you, but healthy relationships will fuel your spirit, inspire your dreams, and remind you of your worth every day. You deserve to be loved and respected, not for what you can give, but for who you are. 4. Lack of self-discipline. Self-discipline is often called the bridge between goals and accomplishment, but it's so much more than that. It is the inner strength that keeps us focused, committed, and resilient when faced with distractions, doubts, or difficulties. Without self-discipline, even the most brilliant ideas, the most ambitious dreams, and the strongest intentions remain just that ideas and dreams that never materialize into reality. A lack of self-discipline can quietly erode your life, slowly dismantling your potential piece by piece. At its core, self-discipline is about control. Control over impulses, over fleeting desires, and over the temptation to choose comfort over growth. It means waking up early when your bed feels warm, choosing healthy food when junk cravings strike, practicing your craft when motivation wanes, or studying when others are out enjoying themselves. This control isn't about harshness or self-punishment. It's about respect for your goals and respect for yourself. The absence of self-discipline leads to procrastination, which is often the thief of time and dreams. Procrastination disguises itself as harmless delay, but it is actually a powerful force that steals momentum and breeds regret. When you consistently put off important tasks, small opportunities pass by unnoticed, deadlines sneak up on you, and your stress multiplies. Over time, this pattern chips away at your confidence and leaves you feeling stuck in a cycle of underachievement. Lack of discipline also impacts your relationships and reputation. When you fail to follow through on commitments, whether to yourself or others, it sends a message of unreliability. People begin to doubt your words and question your character. Over time, this can isolate you and close doors that might have otherwise opened. Discipline is not just a personal virtue, it's a social one, creating trust and respect in every area of life. One of the biggest challenges with self-discipline is that it requires delayed gratification. In a world that constantly offers instant rewards, through social media, entertainment, or convenience, choosing long-term gain over short-term pleasure can feel like an uphill battle. But the most meaningful achievements rarely come quickly or easily. They are the result of consistent effort, day after day, even when the excitement fades and the initial motivation dies down. Developing self-discipline is not about perfection, it's about progress. It requires patience, self-forgiveness, and a clear understanding of your why. When your purpose is strong enough, discipline becomes easier because you're motivated not just by what you want, but by what you believe in. It's important to set realistic goals and build small, sustainable habits that lead to bigger changes. Consistency beats intensity every time. It's also crucial to understand that self-discipline is a muscle. It can be strengthened with practice. Start by tackling small tasks that you can control. Maybe it's making your bed each morning, reading for 10 minutes daily, or limiting distractions while working. Each small success builds momentum and reinforces your ability to control your actions, thoughts, and emotions. Over time, this leads to a powerful internal drive that can overcome most obstacles. Ultimately, the cost of lacking self-discipline is far greater than the discomfort it takes to develop it. Without discipline, your dreams stay distant, your potential unfulfilled, and your life lacking the satisfaction that comes from knowing you did your best. But when you commit to discipline, you unlock a freedom that many don't see at first, the freedom to create the life you want on your terms. It's the quiet power behind every success story, and it's available to you if you choose to embrace it. 5. Living in the past. One of the heaviest burdens we carry through life is the weight of the past. Whether it's past mistakes, lost opportunities, painful memories, or regrets, living in the past can consume us and prevent us from fully embracing the present or imagining a hopeful future. The past though it shapes us, should never become a cage that traps us in sorrow, guilt, or bitterness. Yet, for many, the habit of dwelling on what once was slowly destroys their peace of mind and stunts their personal growth. When we live in the past, we replay old hurts over and over, feeding wounds that desperately need healing. This constant reflection on what went wrong or what could have been creates a toxic mental environment. Instead of learning from those experiences, we become stuck in them, replaying scenarios like a broken record. This pattern keeps us emotionally tethered to moments that no longer serve us, trapping us in cycles of pain, anger, or regret. One of the dangers of living in the past is that it robs us of the present. Our minds are so occupied with if only and what if that we fail to appreciate what we have right now. We miss the small joys, the opportunities for connection, and the possibilities for growth that each new day offers. The present becomes overshadowed by shadows from yesterday, and our ability to fully engage with life diminishes. Moreover, living in the past can distort how we see ourselves and others. We may carry grudges or blame ourselves excessively, letting guilt fester into shame. We might refuse to forgive ourselves or those who hurt us, creating emotional barriers that prevent healing. This not only damages our mental health, but also affects our relationships, limiting our capacity for trust, empathy, and love. Healing from the past requires conscious effort. It begins with acceptance, acknowledging what happened without judgment or denial. Acceptance is not about resignation or giving up on change. It's about recognizing the truth so that you can move forward with clarity. Once you accept the past, you can begin to release its hold on your heart and mind, making space for forgiveness and growth. Forgiveness is a powerful key to freedom. Forgiving others, and most importantly, yourself, does not mean forgetting or condoning harm. It means choosing to let go of the heavy burden of resentment and pain. When you forgive, you reclaim your power and free yourself from the toxic grip of the past. It is a gift you give yourself, opening the door to peace and healing. Living fully requires a shift in focus, from the past to the present, and from regret to possibility. Mindfulness and gratitude practices can help ground you in the here and now, reminding you that life is happening moment by moment. The past has lessons to teach, but it is not your home. Your home is the present moment where you have the power to make choices and create the life you desire. Remember, the future is not determined by what happened yesterday. Every day offers a new beginning, a fresh chance to rewrite your story. You have the strength to rise above past hurts and mistakes. You have the courage to embrace change, to grow, and to heal. Don't let yesterday's shadows steal today's light. Choose to live in the present and watch how your life transforms. 6. Ignoring mental and physical health in the pursuit of success, happiness, or fulfilling responsibilities. Many of us overlook the most fundamental foundation of a good life, our health. Both mental and physical well-being are vital pillars that support every aspect of our existence. Ignoring these can quietly, but powerfully, destroy the very life we are trying to build. Without good health, even the greatest achievements lose their meaning, and the simplest joys become difficult to experience. Physical health is often the first thing we notice when neglected. Poor diet, lack of exercise, and insufficient rest can gradually erode our strength, energy, and vitality. We begin to feel tired, sluggish, and unmotivated. Small illnesses become chronic conditions. Our body which is our home for life, starts sending warning signals that we too often ignore or suppress. Yet many push forward, convinced that success demands sacrifice of the body, only to realize too late that no amount of external achievement can replace good health. Mental health, though less visible, is equally critical. Stress, anxiety, depression, and burnout are modern epidemics, silently undermining millions of lives. When we ignore our mental health, the effects ripple through every part of our lives, our relationships, our work, our ability to enjoy life. Mental health struggles often come with stigma, making it harder for people to seek help. But suffering in silence only deepens the wound, and untreated mental health issues can lead to devastating consequences. The connection between mental and physical health is profound and undeniable. Chronic stress and emotional pain can manifest physically in headaches, high blood pressure, digestive issues, and more. Conversely, physical illnesses can affect mood and mental clarity. Ignoring one aspect inevitably harms the other. True wellness requires a holistic approach, nurturing both the body and the mind with care, compassion, and attention. Taking care of your health is not a luxury. It is a responsibility you owe to yourself and those who depend on you. Prioritizing health means making conscious choices every day, eating nourishing foods, moving your body, getting adequate sleep, and managing stress. It also means listening to your body's signals and seeking professional support when needed. There is no shame in asking for help. In fact, it's a sign of strength and self-awareness. Mental health care includes practices like mindfulness, therapy, meditation, and building supportive relationships. It's about creating a safe internal space where you can process emotions, develop resilience, and find balance. When you invest time in your mental well-being, you cultivate clarity, emotional stability, and peace, qualities that enhance every part of your life. Ignoring your health might seem like a shortcut to getting more done in the short term, but it is a trap that leads to burnout and loss. A healthy mind and body equip you to face challenges with strength, to enjoy successes fully, and to bounce back from setbacks. Health is the soil in which all other aspects of life grow. Neglect it, and everything else begins to wither. Remember, your life is a gift that requires care. Protect your health as fiercely as you protect your dreams. When you do, you empower yourself to live not just longer, but fuller, experiencing life's beauty with energy, joy, and resilience. You deserve a life where your body and mind thrive together, allowing you to be the best version of yourself every single day.